Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is your coach Renz, and today we are going to begin our study of the law of mentalism as per the Kybalion. Now, if you guys haven't seen the video, there is one video that has already discusses each Hermetic principle in short detail. And if I would implore you to watch that video first before watching any of the long form videos concerning each independent law of Hermetics, each independent Hermetic law. These are natural laws, meaning laws, not principles. Laws cannot be broken. Principles can be broken and changed, but laws cannot be broken. And today we're going to start a two-part video. The two-part video is talking about the law of mentalism. We must understand this law of mentalism in order to be able to utilize the next laws, the preceding laws of the Hermetics. So, as before, if you watch the other video, you know that the Hermetics come from Tahuti. They come from Thoth or Hermes, whichever name that best fits with you. It really doesn't matter. It's not cultural. It's not melanated. It has nothing to do with any of that because it is philosophy. It is understanding. It is the understanding that we are all energy and that we are all a living mind. The thing about it is that we are the finite living mind, whereas the all is the infinite living mind. And we will get to a greater understanding of that in this law of mentalism, because without this law, the other laws will fail you. You may be able to induce certain cause and effects as far as the law states, but without this understanding, you will merely be throwing a dart at the dartboard without looking. You'll be casting your pearls out to swine, as the Kybalion may say. So, we are going to get into the law of mentalism, and I'm not going to hold you guys too long on this one because this is going to be two parts, and I want you to be able to sink in each portion. So before you proceed to the next one, ensure that you have gotten this deep into your core. Go back, read this book, read it over and over again. It is through repetition that we begin to change the way our mind works, that we begin to change our thoughts. So the law of mentalism simply states that the mind, as well as all mental and elemental, I'm reading the wrong thing first. Thank you very kindly. The law of mentalism basically states the all is mind, the universe is mental. The all is mind, the universe is mental. And within that, we have the idea of mental transmutation. Within the law of mentalism, there's mental transmutation, and the axiom dealing with that is mind, as well as all metal and elements, may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. True Hermetic transmutation is a mental art. You have read many books. You have read your Think and Grow Rich. You have read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. You have read The 7 Habits of Successful People. You've read different philosophies of as a man think, so shall he be. You've read these things, you've heard these things, no matter what your religion or philosophy or culture or nationality or racial makeup, even though race don't exist, but whatever your makeup is, wherever you grew up, you have heard some idea of this. Some idea of this has been given to you, that mental transmutation is a mental art, that you can change anything from degree to degree, from vibration to vibration. I'm sure you've experienced this before in your life already, where you was thinking a certain way and you wanted to change the way you thought. So you wanted to go from being in a hate position to a love position. So you changed your thinking in order to move along that pole. Or you wanted to change the condition of your health, so you vibrated at a healthier frequency to change your health. You may say that, well, I ate better, I exercised, but all of that is changing your physical vibration, your emotional vibration, and your mental vibration. But first, you must change the mental vibration in order to transmute the physical reality into the reality that you desire, to move along the pole, to vibrate at a higher frequency, to swing the law of rhythm in your favor to where you want it to be, to have the outward looking like the inner, or the above as the below, and the below as the above. So transmutation is the father of alchemy and all other biology, all other sciences of biology and chemistry and all others, of astrology and astronomy, and how one became the next based on Western culture. So mental transmutation is a psychology that has been very well known throughout the ages, from ancient times up until today. Do not fall into the idea that the ancient people had no idea of psychology, that they did not look upon the actions and activities of man and nature and the universe and not develop a psychology of the universe and of man behind behind watching and viewing and testing. They had their psychologies. We know this because of all the ancient writings, because the understanding of the Tao, the understanding of the Buddha, the understanding of the Krishna and Christian and the Jesus character and the Muhammad character. That philosophy has always been the Stoic philosophies, the philosophy of the Hopi Indians, and so many. We can go on, and so many, that psychology has been around far longer than Western cultures, than man would give them credit for. So let us not sit here and think that we are at the pinnacle of understanding, because there is way more information for us to grasp. But let's stick and get into mental transmutation, and we're also going to cover another aspect of the all after mental transmutation. So mental transmutation, as defined or as written in the book, the Kybalion, transmutation is a term usually employed to designate the ancient art of transmutation of metals, particularly of the base metals, into gold. Now this is alchemy. This is what the alchemists were always trying to do. And the base alchemist, the base alchemical mind, was just trying to literally turn lead into gold for wealth reasons. But as we're going to learn, it's more about mental transmutation, mental alchemy. The word transmute means to change from one nature, form, or substance into another, to transform, according to Webster. And accordingly, mental transmutation means the art of changing and transforming mental states, forms, and conditions into others. So you may see that mental transmutation is the art of mental chemistry, if you like the term, a form of practicing mystic psychology. So transmutation, in this sense and in all senses, is about changing your mindset. Alchemy is about going from a lead-based thinking to a gold-based thinking. It is the idea of going from your root chakra to your crown chakra, the idea of raising your kundalini, the idea of making the sacred male and sacred female work together, join together, and bursting in the pineal gland, enabling you to see the higher levels of spirituality and greater understanding. Mental transmutation is about you making your relationships better. It's about making your ability to create and manifest things easier. It's about growing your children, and as they develop, they are raised to be able to manifest in life, or to have in life, or to be good citizens in order to, or be entrepreneurs, or to be good husbands, good wives, good brothers, good sisters, to be the best version of themselves. Mental transmutation is about growth and development and change. As we get into the later aspects of the mental law, we'll learn that the most constant thing, that everything changes. Everything is either living, it's either growing, or it's dying. Nothing is stagnant. So all things are always transmuting. The question is, what part of the scale are we beginning at, and which direction are we headed? Are we headed towards the negative end of the scale, or the part of the scale that you would not want to have, the one that causes you more pain, that causes you more injury? Or are we headed up along the path, along the scale that gives you more life, gives you more vitality, that allows you to open and see more, in your mind to see more and be more and develop more? Is it moving you in relationships up to a higher scale of love, or is it moving you down the scale to hate or discontent? Is your marriage growing, or is your marriage dying? Is your health growing, or is your health dying? These are the questions. This is what mental transmutation is about. I've underlined in certain parts, and those are parts we're going to read from and continue. It says that the first of the 7 Hermetic principles is the principle of mentalism, the axiom of which is all is mind, the universe is mental. That is, existing in the mind of the all. As we discuss this further, we will understand that matter does not necessarily exist, right? And we will continue and get into that part. If the universe is mental in its nature, then mental transmutation must be the art of changing the conditions of the universe along the lines of matter, force, and mind, right? And changing the universe. See, we view this wall as matter. We know this wall is energy, that there is no such thing as matter, that this wall does not necessarily exist. It does not exist in the solidified form that it is in, that it is merely molecules and atoms vibrating, neutrons and electrons and protons vibrating and still moving. We know that the law of vibration teaches us that it is still moving. Science have proven that, and it's not just modern day science. Modern day science is merely catching up to the fact that this is something that has been known through the ancients, whether we're talking about the Egyptians, the Sumerians, the Greeks, those in the Indus Valley, the Aboriginals. They knew that all things move, all things vibrate. This is a common world knowledge throughout history. So, but because we are the finite mind and not the infinite mind, we see this as matter. So we may discuss this in the format of matter, but let it be known that this is not matter, but energy in a disrupted state. Okay? Now, as it says, as a matter of fact, none but the advanced mental alchemists have been able to attain a degree of power necessary to control the grosser physical conditions, such as the control of the elements of nature, the production or cessation of tempests, meaning temperature, like storms, the production and creation of earthquakes, of cessation of earthquakes and other great physical phenomena. And it's saying that great masters have done this, but they remain in seclusion. They usually don't show themselves. They usually keep their power to themselves, because in order to develop to that state, you have to come to a certain level of wisdom. Now, yes, there are those who will use things for negative. There are those who will develop mental abilities and talents for negative. In that same way, people use the ability to change your mental state. If you looked at the video about gender, and there are other videos that I will mention this on, there are plenty of them where by changing the mental state, your mental state, you control the mental state of other people, of lesser powered people, lesser conditioned people, lesser mastered people. You can control their mental state. And it's not always through the control can come through the vibration of sound, through the vibration of frequency, and that's through your voice. People like to say that there's power in the tongue. This is true, because the tongue helps to emit the vibration that creates the words. Those words can caress the mind of people and change their thoughts. And by changing the thought of the people, you change the material condition. You change the mental condition of the group. The charismatic speaker stands on a podium, whether it be Hitler or Dr. King, they move the masses. Whether it be JFK or Stalin, they move the masses. And they move the masses in a direction that is suited for them, for what their purpose is. So it is not a power that is clearly defined as good or evil, but it's just a power. It is just a tool. Just a tool. But only the masters have achieved that level where they can affect changes, such as the idea of walking on water, or transmuting water into wine, or raising the dead, or changing the elemental state of a metal. Only the masters have been able to achieve that. And because there is so much information in the Hermeticum that we are missing, there are very few who have achieved that. Usually it is those coming from higher planes. But let us look at it as far as the student. But the student of the Hermetics of lesser degree than masters, the initiates and the teachers, are able to freely work along the mental plane in mental transmutation. In fact, all that we call psychic phenomena, mental influence, mental science, new thought phenomena, etc., operates along the same general line. For there is but one principle involved, no matter by what name the phenomenon is called. And that is the law of mentalism, the law of mental transmutation. We do this consistently. You use your mental abilities to train up children in a certain way that you would want them to go. Now, depending upon the child, they may break free. I know many have a writing and teaching that says, train up a child in the way that they will go and they will not depart. That is not necessarily true. Look at the world today. Many people have switched religions left and right, from Muslim to Christian, from Christian to Muslim, to Gnostics, to agnostics, to atheists, to different variations within different religions, to consciousness, to different variations within consciousness. People have changed and went away from what they have been taught as a child, because they have been influenced by either someone else, they have been influenced by world events and environments, they have been influenced by their own study, they have been influenced by authors of old, and they have been influenced, some, the best, have been influenced by taking in everything, but sitting down and coming to their own thought by the influence of their own mind. You see, I tell people all the time, and just like I'm telling you, do not just listen to me. Do not just listen to others. But more importantly, listen to your own mind. Listen to your own mind. And be broader in your mind than the country you grew up in. Be broader in your mind than the gender that you've been assigned. Be broader in your mind than the amount of melanin and the history of that melanin, or lack thereof. Have a broader mind than that. Let it just be free, recognizing that all things are energy, all things change, nothing ever stays the same, and all these are constructs of man, as far as government, society, race, religion, philosophies. All these things are constructs of man, man in his own thought. But go to an original thought. The reason why we are studying the Hermetics is to give you that power, to think for yourself, to recognize what the laws are, and then operate based on the laws of the universe. People have tried to codify these laws into their religions and into their cultures, but at the end of the day, when you stick it in the furnace and pour off pour off all the, when you stick it in metal, when you take metal, as an alchemist, you take the metal, you put it in the fire, and then it separates from the impurities. Thank you, that's what I'm looking for. The word impurity. This is not live, I'm just saying thank you, it's just me. But you stick that information, you take book and you put it into the furnace, and you say, what are the impurities that burn off? What are the impurities that separate? And pour off the impurities and just look at the gold. When you look at your books, your Bibles, your Torahs, your Vedics, your Bhagavad Gitas, all your books, your Tao, all your books, your Quran, then you put it against the flame. And right now, this is the flame. This is the flame. Okay. So we're gonna skip down through. And it says, and more of this, and more than this, as many students and practitioners of modern mental science know, every material condition dependent upon the mind of other people may be changed or transmuted in according with the earnest desires, will, and treatments of person's desired change of condition, meaning that if you desire, other people can influence you, but your desire must become greater in order for you to become what you desire. Now, if you watch the video, go and watch the video on law of gender. I talk about the difference between the I and the me. When the I and the me, when you go back, watch that video, understand the I and the me, and then you will get a better understanding of the strength of your desire and how we use mental transmutation based on the concept of the I and the me. It's not to be argued, it's just what it is, right? So, and just to give you a simple one right here, the me is what you are becoming. The I is your core being of what you are. So in order to influence the core being, the I, in order to change the I, you have to influence the me to become the next I. And when you become the next I, then you repeat, becomes infinite. All right. All right. So the Hermetic principle and art underlying all these various forms of practice, good and evil, for the force can be used in opposite directions according to the Hermetic principle of polarity. So if you haven't seen the video on polarity, go watch that one. If you're watching this one in November 20th, then you're just not there yet. And thus, the polarity is the scale. evil, good. You can be anywhere along the scale, and you vibrate either higher or lower along the scale. All right. So in this book, what they want you to understand is that if you master this principle, then you will possess the master key that will unlock many doors of the principle of polarity. The reason why you want to unlock the doors of the principle of polarity is because, like I just said, if you are wanting to go from hate to love, then understanding your mental, where you are mentally, how your thoughts are. Your thoughts will engage with the physical matter of reality and produce what it is you are thinking. As you think, so shall you be. So if you are thinking hate, thinking that you deserve hate, thinking that all you're going to receive in life is hate and loneliness, thinking that the relationship you're in is going to fail, if you're constantly thinking this relationship is over, it's going to fail, that's what you will get. You will receive nothing further than that. You will stay right there. So you have to think differently so that your vibration changes and you move up the scale. But the first thing you must do is recognize what the scale is. What is the scale? You know, is it hot or cold, or is it temperature? That's what we must first understand. One other part we're going to talk about is the all. We are not going to stick here too long because I want you to understand something very basic. This is not codified in any religion. This is not something that the Christian or the Muslim or the Jew or anybody can claim to be their own. This is just is. So, as far as the Kybalion says, under and back of the universe of time, space, and change, in every is ever to be found the substantial reality, the fundamental truth, the Kybalion. And I'm going to read you this part. Substance means that which underlies all outward manifestations, the essence, the essential reality, the thing in itself. Substantial means, well, let's stick there. So substance, all manifestation, the essence, the essential reality, the thing in itself. So substance is the thing itself. Substantial means actually existing, being an essential element, being real, like it's here, it's now. Right? Reality, the state of being real, true, enduring, valid, fixed, permanent, actual. Reality is that reality is the truth. It's the truth. All other things, reality cannot be debated. It's just truth. So the substantial reality is what we want to look at. What is the substantial reality? Under and behind all outward appearance or manifestation, there must always be a substantial reality. This is law. There must always be the actual existence of the truth that is enduring, that is valid, that cannot be changed, and it comes out in the substance of manifestation and the essence of all reality. So this is the substantial reality. Nothing stands still. Everything is born, growing, dying. The very instant a thing reaches its height, it begins to decline. The law of rhythm is constant in this operation, meaning that everything is always changing. Everything is always moving. Everything is always vibrating, right? So nothing really is what it is. And I know this is going to be a big mind jump. And in the next video, we'll break down some more things to kind of bring your mind into cohesion with it. Nothing endures except change. This is all setting you up for an understanding of the all. All thinkers in all the lands and in all time have assumed the necessity for postulating the existence of this substantial reality. Because all things change, because we live in this dimensional plane where we have matter, we have to begin to understand how all things came about. And what we will do as man, we have tried to codify these things, to codify the substantial reality in the idea of deity, or gods, or God, right? And because instead of just calling it substantial reality, some have called it the infinite and eternal energy, or others have called it matter. But this is the understanding that matter does not exist. In the Hermetics, we simply call it the all. The substantial reality is the all. The living mind is the all. Right? So if we accept this Hermetic teaching that it is all the all, the substantial reality of all things in existence is this physical manifestation is a mental creation of the all. All right? The inner nature of the all is unknowable, It must be so, for not by the all itself can it comprehend its own nature and being. When anybody try to codify it as deity, they themselves are misrepresenting and are ill-equipped to teach you anything or to show you, because the all is unknowable. The substantial reality, the creator, God, whatever you want to call it, is unknowable, right? It cannot be known. So to say that you know it, that you codify it, is to say that you are, in your finite mind, have more understanding than the infinite mind, right? The Hermeticists believe and teach that the all in itself is and must be ever unknowable. The finite mind can never know the infinite mind in its totality. One pursuing such inquiries travel around and around in a labyrinth of thought until he is lost to all the sane reasoning, action, and conduct, and utterly unfitted to work for the work of life. Meaning that if you spend your time trying to codify the all, then you will spend your time traveling around like a hamster on a wheel, thinking that you're going somewhere, but you're going nowhere. If all you're doing is trying to codify into a creed, then that's all. Then you will never ever be able to do it, because the all is unknowable. It's just unknowable, and we, as Hermeticists, we just accept that it's unknowable. There are things you just won't know. There are things going on this planet right now with other people you won't know. There are things going on in people 5 miles away from you, and you don't know what's going on. The all is similar in that there are things that happens in the universe. There is an understanding, a condition of the greater mind that you won't know. Now, this has been misused by some to say that God's ways are not our ways, that God's plans are not our plans, that God works in mysterious ways when trying to understand tragedies and things like that occur. That is an excuse, and that is not what I'm saying. That is not what the Hermetics is saying either. It may sound similar, but it is from this understanding in the Hermetics that has been taught and has been stolen. So understand that that is not what it is saying. It is not saying that at all, and as we go through the law of mentalism, you will understand that greater. And still more, and this is how men create God. And still more presumptuous are those who attempt to ascribe to the all the personalities, qualities, properties, characteristics, and attributes of themselves. Ascribing to the all the human emotions, feelings, and characteristics, even down to the pettiest of qualities of mankind, such as jealousy, susceptibility to flattery and praise, desire for offerings and worship, and all of the other survivals from the days of childhood of race. Such ideas are not worthy of grown men and women and are rapidly being discarded. Basically, the all cannot be condemned or pigeonholed to emotions and to the characteristics of man. Again, this is man's finite mind trying to make the infinite mind like himself. This is where God all of a sudden looks like the group that's in control. This is where God acts like the group that's in control. This is where God all of a sudden has favoritism. How can the all, that is the creator of all things, have favoritism? How can the all that is the creator of all things be so low as to be that of a man? And as we get into the second video, we'll discuss that even in greater detail as far as talking about divine paradox and all in the mental universe. So we're going to finish up this part just concerning the all, to get a basic understanding of the all. This part is very important. I want you guys to definitely hear this part, and there's so much on this, and I'm trying to keep this video down. Religion to us means institutional realization of the existence of the all and one's relationship to it, while theology means the attempt of men to ascribe personalities, qualities, and characteristics, their theories regarding the affairs with will, desires, plans, and designs, and their assumption of the office of the middleman between the all and the people. Philosophy to us means to inquire after knowledge of things knowable and thinkable, while metaphysics means to attempt to carry and inquire over and above the boundaries and into religion of the unknowable and the unthinkable, with the same tendency of theology. So theology and metaphysics are considered to be the same, attempting to ascribe characteristics and traits to the unknowable, the unthinkable, whereas religion and philosophy is just utilizing what is known to create and form your relationship. Now, I know religion comes from re legare, which means to bind, to hold, to capture, to hold down. So they do not use religion. The three initiates do not really use the term religion in that same format. But what they are looking at is just the idea of trying to create relationship with it. But of course, religion and theology is so bound together hand in hand in today's world that you cannot distinguish the difference, and sometimes we often call them doctrine. But for me, I don't like using the word religion, even though they use the word religion. I don't particularly care for it, but philosophy in itself is the only word to be used when considering, as all others, religion, theology, and metaphysics, are not to be used, because it is man trying to, in today's world, when this was written, maybe religion had a different connotation for them, but in today's world, religion, metaphysics, and theology, even though people will use the term metaphysics to try to separate, but you're still trying to know the unknowable in such a degree that you give it man qualities, human-like qualities, and you will basically make up stuff. So let's get that into an understanding. But really quick, let's get an understanding of the all, of what qualifies the all. Number one, the all must be all that the all must be all that reality is. There can be nothing existing outside of the all, else the all would not be the all. There can't be anything outside of the all. No other force can be outside of the all. No other substance, no other reality can be outside of the all. Right? The all must be infinite. If there can be nothing outside of the all, then the all must exist into infinity, which is beyond the finite mind of man. Try to imagine infinity. I believe you will not be able to do that. I can't imagine infinity. All right? And then the all can never not be. It has to always be. See, if there is something outside of infinity, then the all there is a point where the all does not exist, and it's not there, and that cannot be. It cannot otherwise be continuous in space without break, cessation, separation, or interruption. Meaning there cannot be a break. It cannot separate itself. It cannot pour a piece of itself into something else. It cannot be this and that and create any division or separation. It cannot be forsaken of itself, so to speak. It is subject to no power, for there is no other power. Self-explanatory. Number three, the all must be immutable or not subject to change in its real nature. It cannot be added to nor subtracted from, increased or nor diminished. The all there has never been, nor not now, and never will be anything else into which it can change. Meaning that the idea of a trinity is a man creation. The idea of the all being separated into any distinct differences is a man creation. True, they try to say that those three make up the one, but it cannot be parted, right? And it cannot change in its nature. The all cannot be in a portion of itself, but that self forgets or not have knowledge or not be the all. It must always be the all. If an entity is on the planet Earth and it claims to be the all, then it cannot be a portion of it, but must be all in its totality of itself. It can never be diminished or separated. So the all must always be the all and can never forsake itself. So understand those three qualities. It is all that there is. It must be infinite, and it can never be separated or changed or becoming anything. The finite mind is changeable, is fleeting, is conditioned. Those things are not the conditions of the all. It cannot be fleeting. It can't change. It can't be finite. It can't do certain things one way and then change its nature to do it a different way later on. It cannot be Jewish and then become Christian and then become Muslim. It cannot become Buddhist and then become Hindu. Well, it can't become Hindu and then become Buddhist and then become a Taoist and then become Taoist. The all is just the all. Point blank period. Nothing else. And for the scientists, they may call it matter. Is the all merely matter? No. That not at all. Matter cannot manifest life or mind, And so what is the all is the question. But matter cannot manifest life and mind, and life and mind are manifested into the universe. The all cannot be matter, for nothing rises higher than its own source. That would mean that the all became something greater. It became something greater if it was matter. In the modern science, inform us that there is really no such thing as matter, because it's energy. We talked about that earlier. It's not energy or force, as it would be blind energy or force. It can't be blind energy force. It must be a vibrating, a thinking energy or force. So if it's not just blind energy force devoid of life and mind, then it must be living mind. And that is what the all is, living mind. And we all exist in the universe of the living mind. So that means at the end of the day, the answer is living mind. As far as above, that which mortals know by this word, it is infinite living mind. Finite life and mind cannot understand the infinite living mind, and some have pronounced this out as spirit. So at the end of the day, the all is living mind, infinite in all its being, and we are finite trying to understand it. But as we continue through to the next one, because this is going to end this one, I want you guys to spread this, share this, because by understanding this concept, this law of mental transmutation, and understanding the condition of the all, what the all is, it will help us to better manifest things in our existence and in our life and in our understanding, as we raise our vibration, raise our mental condition, and transmute our mind, our thoughts, first in this mental plane, and then as we go into additional planes of existence to raise ourselves to the level where we have deeper and deeper understanding of the all in this emanation and the next, this dimension and the next. So y'all have a great day. Remember, your greatness is non-negotiable, and you have to free yourself to be yourself.